no amount of emails or SMS or push notifications or anything like that is going to undo a bad product or bad support or bad experience. Authenticity is going to be the key in the midst of all this AI videos and photos and text and whatever. The advertising landscape is going to shift, and it's going to become, how do you influence AI? The agency model is significantly a better business model for most people than a brand. You don't have advertising, fulfillment, inventory, a bunch of cash tied up in inventory. Of course, you have people, right, which are notoriously difficult to scale and to work with. But in general, at least when you start up, you really just need a skill. Just do more of what works. I know that sounds crazy, but in the beginning, just do a lot of stuff and look at what works and do more of that.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of BizUp. Today I have with me Mr. Feras Khouri. Feras is the founder of New Standard Co., which is a retention marketing agency for big D2C brands. He is a retention specialist with us today. He has also scaled his own startup called Mansion, which deals in men's jewelry. And I'm very interested to know about that as well. Feras, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me.
So whereas I'll just deep dive instantly, okay? Because retention, it has always fascinated me. I have also come from a D2C background, and in fact, I used to work for a jewelry brand, and I just want to understand that. Okay, so beyond emails, beyond your RFM, right? Your recency, frequency, monetary. Just spelling it out for the audience there. What is what do founders miss when they talk about retention, and where do you come in and actually help them beyond what they can see?
Yeah, the whole reason I learned retention was because of the jewelry brand, right? It's hard to get men to buy jewelry, and it's even harder to get them to come back and buy jewelry again. So
Yeah.
that really forced me to think about retention holistically versus just email and SMS. So there's a lot of answers to your question. I mean, the retention spans across so many different things, right? And then a subset of that is what my agency New Standard focuses on. But when you think about retention as a whole, if putting on your brand hat, the number one most important thing for retention is the product, right? And then there's other things like customer support, shipping times. All of these things feed into retention because your whole goal here is, of course, to get people to be advocates of the brand, tell other people about your products, your brand, your service, and then all of that leads up to them wanting to purchase again and again and again over the shortest period of time that you possibly can. So when I think about retention from the brand side, you really have to look at it holistically, starting with the product and the customer experience and the customer support. No amount of emails or SMS or push notifications or anything like that is going to undo a bad product or bad support or bad experience. And then there's also the type of product. There's subscription brands, and then there's mattresses. How many mattresses is somebody going to buy? So that comes down to product and support, right? So maybe you have pillows or sheets or whatever, some other thing that people can buy. So I would just say that's the most important thing when it comes to the agency side and the levers that we can pull. Email, SMS is a big one, physical mailers, loyalty programs, mobile applications, subscription metrics. And that one's a little bit more broad. And what I mean by subscription metrics, though, is really looking at focusing on, if you're a subscription brand, of course, focusing on the subscription side of your business very meticulously and figuring out what is the messaging, what are the habits I have to build, what are the rituals I have to instill in my customers so that they stay for a longer period of time. So it's very, retention is a very wide net, and there's some levers that make more impact than others.
Right. Okay. So let me ask you this. So let's say how, like, let's say I'm a brand and I come to you. How will you understand, what metrics would you look at to know that, okay, is it a retention problem or is it a product or a positioning problem?
It's also a very good question. So we work only with 8 and 9 figure brands, and
Okay.
I'm not saying that in to put down 7 figure brands. It's just the way that our agency is set up. We hire very senior people. We're more on the, uh, I guess, consulting, more expensive side of the spectrum when it comes to retention agencies.
Hmm.
And the reason I'm saying that is because most of the time, our brands aren't dealing with a product market fit. They're doing 50, 100, $200 million. So for us, that's not usually the issue.
Hmm.
However, um, you have to understand what the brand is optimizing for. Most of
Hmm.
the time, they're optimizing for revenue. Sure, no problem. But there's a lot of different ways to get to revenue. Not two brands who both have 35% email attributed revenue on Klaviyo don't necessarily have the same health of their account and the same approach to retention. One could be
Hmm.
doing it in a more sustainable way. The other one could just be hammering their list over and over and over again with promos and increasing their unsubscribes and really prioritizing short-term revenue at the expense of medium and long-term revenue. So the first goal here, at least for us, again, 8 9 figure brands who are 10 figure brands who are proven in the space, most likely not going to be a product market fit. So then you have to look at the cohorts. Some
Hmm.
brands, apparel brands, could be optimizing for 30-day repurchase rates. Their customer acquisition costs are getting too high. They're not making as much money on that first t-shirt that they're selling. So they're going to try to push pants or jackets or whatever to try to increase their first purchase profitability. But then they need their retention channels to try to decrease the average days between orders, increase repurchase rates, maximize 90 days CLV, whatever that is, to help that business. Subscription brands are a little bit different. Each brand is optimizing for something different. So you
Yeah.
really have to look at the what we call the layer 2 metrics, which are the cohorts. What are the cohorts doing? How are they behaving? And how can we impact that?
Okay. And when we say cohorts, like, I'm sure it will be different for different kinds of brands, but like, what kind of cohorts are we talking about? Let's say for a t-shirt brand, what will be your cohorts?
So the most basic cohort is looking at just month by month. So of all the people that purchased in January,
Hmm.
how did they react? What percentage of them came back and purchased again in January? What percentage came back in February, March, April, May? Right. So you're looking at every cohort through different time periods. Cohort, just think of like monthly cohorts to start.
Hmm.
So everyone in January, how did they react over 30, 60, 90 days, 12 months? Same thing in
Hmm.
February, March, April, and each one is going to be a little bit different depending on the seasonality, right? You're going to have people in November for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, who
Hmm.
might not have high repurchase rates because they're gifting, right? So my girlfriend could be buying me a shirt. She's probably not going to come back and repurchase again in December or January. So it's just understanding the different. It's understanding your customers and how they interact with the business and their purchasing behaviors and trying to
Hmm.
impact those things.
Right. Right. And okay, let's say once you, so yeah, you try to understand your consumer, and I think that is the crux of it. And where do you see founders not able to understand it? Do you think it's a analytics issue where, like, they're not able to actually make these cohorts do the kind of analysis that are required to understand it? Or is it the problem is on the creative side of it, is to, like, how to reach out again, what should be the content of your email, your SMS, like, or is it both? Like, where do you see yourself working the most for them?
You would be. I was talking to somebody about this the other day, We don't
Hmm.
work with seven figure brands, but I'll audit seven figure brands here and there just to help out, do like a light audit. A lot of the times, those brands have their retention channels more dialed than the eight and nine figure brands. And
Okay.
I don't know if it's not all the time, but a lot of the time. And I don't know if it's because they, if the product market fit is not great and you're having this explosion of growth, you're trying to
Hmm.
get wins everywhere you can. So things seem to be a little bit more dialed when it comes to the retention side. But to answer your question, it's a combination of everything. I mean, we've worked with nine figure brands who didn't even have a pop up before we came on. And, when customer acquisition costs were $15 or whatever, or they were experiencing this hockey stick growth, they didn't have to focus on retention. They were
Yeah.
focusing on acquisition. When things started plateauing on the acquisition side, it's more expensive, more competition, less targeting ability because of the iOS updates, whatever. Then they're like, okay, we need to figure out how to keep people around as long as possible because, as you know, based on the formula, the traffic times conversion rate times average order value or customer lifetime value equals sales. You take the money from sales and you spend it on marketing. That you don't have retention without acquisition.
Yeah.
So and vice versa, right? So to answer your question more blatantly, there's a lot of tools out there that can give you the cohort data. I don't think brands understand retention in its entirety, and they're focused on what's my email attributed revenue. They're not looking at month by month cohorts or the people that purchased their hero product. Here's a good example for you. A lot of brands don't know to look and say, okay, I'm spending all of this money getting people to purchase a hero product,
Hmm.
but the retention on my hero product is not good. They're
Yeah.
buying that product. So that's another way to slice and dice cohort. They're buying this product and then they're not coming back and buying the product again. Why? Is it a bad experience? Do I not offer anything else? So that is also part of retention is why are you pushing this hero product at 75% of your sales, whatever, and most people are not coming back. So it's all of it.
Yeah. That actually makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I have seen similar kind of things happening. And then, Ferris, how much do you think like a D2C brand should be like is able to communicate fast, right? So like how when do you start to see like, okay, three emails a week and the fourth one and people are just gonna start unsubscribing, right? So what is this level of communication that usually D2C brands can do before they start pissing people off?
That's highly dependent on the size of the brand and the pace at which they're acquiring new customers, and it's highly dependent on the business as a whole. If
Hmm.
if you're a brand doing $10 million a year, you probably shouldn't be sending an email a day. If you're a brand doing $300 million a year, maybe you could send an email a day. Maybe you're just segmenting a little bit differently. So the quick and dirty answer to what you're saying is look at the KPIs. The KPIs will tell you. If we do frequency tests all the time, mostly for bigger brands that think
Yeah.
that we believe are maybe sending too much. It's like if you send 7 emails a day, even if your unsubscribe rate is relatively low, that's still seven. It's compounded over seven sends a week, right? You're sending 7 email. I might have said seven a day, seven a week. So it's compounding every time versus sending 4 emails a week. So it's look at the KPIs, run a frequency test, see if you can make the same amount of revenue with 4 emails as 7 emails, and then be mindful of how much money you're spending on paid, because if you turn all of your ads off, your
Hmm.
email attributed revenue is going to skyrocket, but that's not sustainable because you're going
Yeah.
to keep hitting the same people over and over and over and over. So it'll peak and then it'll go down. It'll eventually die if you don't get new people into the channel. So it's
Hmm.
very, very dependent.
Okay, got it. Uh, so what is- was there like a couple of strategies that worked really well for you during your uh, uh, scale up days at Mansion? Like from where the journey started? Like, was it like a couple of things that really worked well for you?
For jewelry, it's for any product that's not necessarily a high repurchase rate product, there's really
Hmm.
a limit to what you could do. So there's it's going to be less on like mattresses. Again, I'm using mattresses because how many mattresses does one person buy in a given year? So for mattresses or jewelry, it's more of a product, customer support, customer experience, but also first purchase profitability. I know this is not really a retention answer, but for us, a big part of it was how do you make as much money on the first purchase as humanly possible? That was
Hmm.
like we have something called stacks where you bundle 2 to 3 bracelets for a stylized look, and that increased our average order value. Customer
Yeah.
acquisition cost stayed relatively flat. We're making more money there. Another thing was like stack of the week. So generating newness or actually releasing new products, right? Some level of excitement to get people to purchase it again because you don't need jewelry. It's somewhat of an impulse purchase, or it's you have there's a little bit of seasonality there in the summer or Father's Day or whatever. So taking advantage of those moments in time, and then on the valleys, trying to inject some level of newness or excitement to get people to come back and purchase again. You also have different real estate. You have necks, fingers, wrists. So it's pendants. So it's also trying to cross sell across different
Yeah.
categories. So again, it's that's why I always say retention, the biggest levers for retention is your product, your customer support, your customer experience, your offer.
Okay. Perfect. So, Wes, have you ever worked with a B2B brand for retention or otherwise?
Um, that's a good no, not just a straight B2B brand. No, our brands are just D2C.
Hmm. Okay. No, I was just asking it very selfishly, so, so that I can probably get some tips. But
I mean, I'm sure the concepts are relatively the same. Hit me with a question.
yeah, no. So actually the question is that what I have observed is that as a D2C brand, I can probably hit you 7 times a day, and you will not mind it. But as a B2B brand, I'll send you a newsletter once a week, and you'll be like, oh, they disturb me so much. Why does that happen? Is it just purely because we're sending it to businesses? Or I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, my business is B2B, right? We're selling
Yeah.
retention services to brands.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I don't like newsletters. I don't read any of them. Maybe that's why I watch videos or I'm on social getting my content that way.
Yeah.
If unless I explicitly signed up for it, which there's a lot of like scraping tools out there for newsletters, it could maybe be annoying.
Yeah.
It's a good case study. Not sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe people just don't like a lot of unnecessary pointers when they're not looking for it, I guess, because I think a lot of B2B newsletters just focus on giving you a lot of information. And I think they're just
Yeah.
like, we'll get it from our favorite influencers on social. So yeah,
Yeah, it's just the content. Like I don't find a lot of value in the newsletter. Like I don't like newsletters for the most part unless they're very short, digestible pieces of content. But even then, I'd rather just watch a video or something.
yeah. Well, I'm the same way, so I understand. Uh, so wait, I mean, glad we touched on social. So I think you have a decent presence on LinkedIn, and right, you work on your social as well, little. Do you think it has become imperative for founders to create their own personal branding, or you think they can do without it?
I think it's important for everyone to have some level of personal brand because it's the we could go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I'll I'll give you two answers. I think it's important for everyone to have a personal brand because trust is important. And if you have two founders of two businesses and I have no clue who this person is, and I do know who this person is, I'm probably more likely to go with that. You could also spend your time marketing the actual business, but at least when it comes to B2B, like what I'm doing,
Hmm.
people buy from people. And
Yeah.
I think there's a very human element there. Also, the pendulum is swinging very heavily on the AI side right now. Pendulums always go back and forth. And I think authenticity is going to be the key in the midst of all this AI videos and photos and text and whatever. The actual genuine authenticity is going to be the most sought after thing when it comes to partnering with someone or with a business or even brands. It's
Yeah.
just how well are you connecting with people? And I don't think there's a better way to connect with people than being genuine and putting yourself out there.
Okay. Well, I mean, I would definitely agree with you where you're saying that I think people are gonna start craving more and more original content as it becomes highly more difficult to actually differentiate between what is AI and what is not. I think people who are, and I've seen this, like I write with AI and I sometimes just feel like writing myself, and it just does perform better when I write it myself because I don't know, it just connects with people. I think when you're writing from the heart, and I think it's just that factor is always there. uh,
Mhm.
but talking about AI, I actually wanted to talk to you about this as well. How do you think, and which channels of marketing do you think are going to be completely disrupted because of AI in the next 2 3 5 years? Because let's say, for example, I personally am a Google Ads expert, but I do feel that with the introduction of AI mode, I don't know after 2 years whether Google Ads will exist or not, or will it get incorporated inside that AI mode. Not sure. How will you how will you do advertising like 2 years later? What is your take on it, on the channels that you have experience with?
I think AI is going to disrupt every industry. It's just to what extent.
Hmm.
Um, I'll tell you the acquisition or the retention, my thoughts on the retention side first, and then I'll talk to you about my thoughts on the acquisition side
Yeah.
because that one is actually more interesting, more fascinating to me. So on the retention side, I think agencies charging between one and five-ish thousand dollars per month who don't do strategy, who are just outsourcing all of their work to offshore talent to keep the price incredibly low
Hmm.
are going to be wiped out. It's not that the offshore talent isn't good. There's agencies that charge more than 5K who use offshore talent. They're doing different things with the offshore talent. But
Hmm.
the 1 to 3, 4K a month where they're just using inexperienced offshore talent to
Hmm.
keep the price as low as possible and execute, I think are going to be wiped out by tools because there's already tools now, for a brand doing $2 million a year, $1 million a year, $3 million a year, whatever, who doesn't have a big budget that will plug into Klaviyo, make you a calendar, create an email, whatever. And at that stage in your business, that's probably what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Once you're actually looking for retention and strategy and deep diving into the data, et cetera, I think those agencies like mine, like Eric and I's, are going to utilize AI to be a force multiplier, get more
Yeah.
data, be more efficient. One person can handle more clients. So I think there will be a separation there. On the acquisition side, I think it's going to be very interesting because I don't Google nearly as much as I used to. I'm asking Chat GPT. and I'm sure Gemini is, I'm sure the landscape of Google is going to be different.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, the advertising landscape is going to shift, and it's going to become, how do you influence AI? It's like
Yeah.
SEO again, kind of, in my mind.
Yeah.
How do you influence AI? If I'm looking for the top 10 best shavers, which I did relatively recently, how do I influence AI to put my shaver above the rest and clearly
Right.
articulate the value? So, it's going to impact everything, in my opinion.
Right. Right. I think like we are already kind of seeing this. I think uh, thankfully in the last few years, I think the company who have focused a lot on SEO, I think they are right now getting some advantage there already. Well, so are we. And but I think the change in landscape is going to be so heavy that some new players might just do something different, because I think people are still trying to figure out, it's a black box, like how to influence AI, right? Like, so yeah, I think quite. But yeah, but I did find it very interesting where you're saying that agencies which have a strategic element within their services are probably going to do better with the, like, because a lot of the agencies with no strategic moat will probably be replaced by tools. And I think I totally agree with that, because I have personally worked with uh, those affordable agencies, and it never seems to work out.
They're
It
just
anyway
executing.
doesn't. Yeah, they're just executing, exactly, and you can execute yourself. You just need to watch a few videos online. And I think with AI tools, it's going to be much easier. But then, how has your internal functioning start has already started changing because of AI? Have you incorporated tools inside your system? Have you, and do you think that even agencies might kind of move from a service based business to a tech based business? Is that transition going to happen?
Yeah, I think tech, I think SaaS and agencies are going to merge, and we
Hmm.
are trying to take advantage of that now. There's levels. I think a lot of agencies are optimizing for the wrong thing. I think a lot of people in general are optimizing for the wrong thing. I think they're optimizing for, oh shit, how do I use AI? And that's fine to think about, but that's not the right thing to be optimizing for. What you should be optimizing for is this thing, and then trying to use AI as a tool to get to that thing, not
Yeah.
just how do I use AI? Because at that point, it just becomes tech paralysis. You're just trying to find ways to use it, and you don't really know what you're trying to use it for. So for us, we kind of break it down into different phases, saying, okay, step one, let's just use it to get a little bit faster and a little bit better. So using GPT for copy, automating certain processes, things of that nature. And then there's the next level, which is, how do I use it to be super consistent across clients? How do I use it to help me make decisions across clients? How do I use it to store and manipulate the data? So we're, as much as I want to do everything at once, we're kind of building it layer by layer by layer,
Yeah.
understanding that nobody really knows what the hell they're doing. They're just
Hmm.
doing stuff. So I'm just trying to talk to people and build those layers where it's, we take it one thing at a time, speed up here, automate this, et cetera, et cetera. And then before you know it, you'll be ahead, I believe, of everyone else with a purpose built AI system, not just implementing AI just to say that you are implementing AI. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, that does make sense actually. And I think, yeah, I think that is the best way to implement AI as well. Like, you think about your final goal and see, like, in what part of the chain can AI actually help. And we have also been trying to do similar things, creating custom GPTs for, like, just to augment and not take over, because it has to start slow and then you figure it out, is what I feel.
Yes.
Also, I was recently talking to an agency, and then they said that what they're trying to do is trying to create a custom GPT where they're putting data from all these clients that they've already had, and they are trying to make an intelligent system which can make intelligent marketing decisions. And I thought to myself, how will that be different from, I mean, I get that the training data might be more focused, but don't other AI models already have that data and more? So how will that be different? Do you think there's something there? Or
I think there's definitely something there, at least to uh, keep things consistent. Like, for example, if we, because we're working on something similar, if you have a custom GPT that's loaded up with all of the client calls that you've had and all of the Slacks that you've had, all of their whatever programs you're plugged into, everything is in there. Let's say a strategist leaves,
hmm,
the idea would be that another strategist can come in and talk to the GPT and to some extent pick up where it was left off, right? If there is, if the language model has been dialed in a little bit, there's a model about data that you can ask it historical things. So to that extent, yes. When it comes to making intelligent decisions, I don't know that we're there yet.
yeah,
That's a perfect example of where I think there's a little bit of like a AI paralysis, where you're doing all this stuff just to get an insight, and I'm like, dude, we could have gotten that way faster. Not saying we're
hmm,
not going to get there, or it's not going to be able to pull things that we can't see, but at this point in time it feels like we can do those things a little bit better than AI in our business. I'm not talking about you asking questions to chat GPT, right? I'm saying when it comes to like the retention side of things, we seem to be able to look at everything holistically and come to
hmm,
conclusions, the same or better conclusions than in AI now.
right, right. That actually makes sense, especially in terms of the knowledge transfer that you're talking about from one strategist to the other. I think that might just be a great use case, creating your own custom GPTs. And because when it's like connected to your processes, it might just work better. And yeah, I think that makes sense. And what do you think about how it will change in terms of e-commerce personalization, right? uh,
Mhm.
that I think AI probably can play a huge role there. What do you think?
I think so. I think a lot of brands just want to personalize just because it's a buzzword, and they don't actually have the data to personalize.
Hmm.
They don't have the name, they don't have the location, they don't have the affinities. They want to do it, but they don't know what to do, and they don't have the data to do it. So I
Yeah.
think it's going to be important for some tool to help get that data or make those inferences on the different personas. A lot of brands don't even know their personas. So if AI can help get the data to then personalize, and also personalize at scale, that's another issue. Is a lot of the times, your retention program is 80% of the way there, and you're trying to get that extra personalization, and that last few bits of personalization is an extraordinary amount of work. I'll
Hmm.
give you an example. uh, a very very basic one is geolocating emails, right? Sending specific emails to specific people in different towns or cities or whatever. Like, that is a huge, that's not easy to do at the
Yeah.
moment. We don't really know where everyone is. We don't know, creating all those different assets. And yeah, there's tools to help with it, but it's not super accurate. So that's what I mean by a lot of the times that little bit of extra personalization is a very large amount of work, and we haven't seen enough incrementality there to really justify the work. So whoever can help personalize at scale for D2C brands who may not have the amount of data that like a Petco has or something like that. That I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Right, right. Uh, and there's so there's one question that actually has given me a few sleepless nights, and I want to ask this to you. Not so that you have sleepless nights, but let me just ask. Like, so what I think is, like, I think 3 years down the line, I, as a as an individual, would probably just be talking to a voice assistant who will be doing everything for me, right? I'll tell them to go there, purchase this, book my tickets, do this, do that, and I think AI will go and probably just do that for me, right? Now, if that is how people start making decisions, and it always gives organic results, then advertising is dead. And if advertising enters those assistants, then like trusting AI is dead. So do you think will AI be the death of advertising, or advertising will be the death of AI?
Um, neither. I think you are now as an advertiser trying to figure out how to influence AI. So I don't. That's going to be the push and pull.
Hmm.
Is AI really telling me the advertising is not a negative thing. The ideal state of advertising is that you show me something that I need, and it's
Hmm.
the best thing for me at that
Yeah.
moment, and then I buy it or do it or whatever. That's the ideal state of advertising. So, in an ideal world, the AI is knows you, knows your affinities, knows what you don't like, all of these things, and then
Hmm.
shows you the thing that's best for you and maybe a few other options to compare it to. That's the ideal state. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know. Is it going to be cloudy? Maybe. I mean, that's what Facebook and Instagram and all these things are trying to do. They're not going
Yeah.
to show me women's makeup, maybe around Valentine's Day or something. I don't know. But for the most part, like the ads that I get are drastically different than the ads that my girlfriend gets. So
Right.
that's what they're trying to do now. So AI ideally makes that fit even better. It knows more about this is, whether you think this
Hmm.
is a good thing or not. It's trained on you. It knows more about you.
Hmm.
Therefore, it knows the whole internet. Therefore,
Hmm.
it can pick exactly what's best for you and show it to you. If that happens, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That actually makes sense. Yeah, I think we'll see what happens. But I think, because see, there are two sides to it, right? Like, I think one is that AI knows me very well, goes across the internet, tries to find the best product for me right now for my requirement organically. But then an advertiser comes in, pays them a lot of money. That is how you rank on Google as well, right? Like, you pay them a lot of money to win the bids. So what if you start winning bids on AI, and then it actually shows people the things, like the advertisements which are just spending more money,
But
and then
it's sponsored just like Google, right? When you go to Google, the first three posts or whatever are sponsored, and then you get to
yeah.
organic. So what's to
Hmm.
stop AI from saying, "Hey, based on the internet, this is
Hmm.
what I think is best for you organically, but
Yeah.
there's also these three things that I was paid to show you."
Right. So then some regulation will have to be in place, right? So, like, for example, they tell Google that you have to show sponsored so that the person knows that it's an ad. I think
Mhm.
then the same regulation will probably have to happen in AI as well. Right now, there are no regulations, so I think we still think it's a black box. Yeah.
It's completely a black box. I don't know. I mean, one day I hear that it's getting most of its info from Reddit because Reddit is a plethora of customer sentiment. People
Yeah.
are, I hate this, I love this sucks, this is great. Maybe it's a combination of that plus, who knows? It's completely a black box. It feels like the Wild West. And I think your new customer is going to be an API. How do I get this thing to show my stuff for as many people as possible?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think yeah, it was lot reliant on Reddit, and then I think with one Google update, it just vanished. Uh, it's
I
not
have no
referring
idea.
AI. Yeah, no, so that happened. So Google came up with the Num 100 update. So it has stopped AI to access anything beyond the first page of Google. So now
Interesting.
there you will see a lot less Reddit citations on AI, and
On
now they are
Gemini specifically?
not on Gemini. Like so, they have stopped access for OpenAI and the likes. So now
Oh,
even in
really?
ChatGPT, yeah, they're actually Google is trying to restrict the AI supply because they hold a lot of information. So now I also think that OpenAI might rely a lot more on Bing because OpenAI and Microsoft are very hand in hand. So
Yeah.
that shift, I don't know, just marketeers
So
guessing all the time.
Google is trying to limit the amount of information OpenAI can get.
Yeah,
That's smart. I didn't know that.
that's exactly. Yeah, it happened in
Smart guys over there at Google.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it is a ferocious competitor. Why would it let them just take everything away?
Yeah.
I think Google now wants people to use their AI more, and I think, and they are
Yeah.
getting pretty good at it every day. So maybe I don't
Yeah.
know. Uh, but yeah, so Fez, let's move on from AI. Okay, I'll ask you something else. So you scaled your own brand, right? So you have a good experience as a founder, and now you have clients who are founders, right? Do you think it really helps you to understand them because of your experience? Do you think it gets more difficult if you're not a founder and trying to reason with founders?
Absolutely. Yeah. I've had endless people tell me that they actually trust us more
Hmm.
because I started a brand, I put up my own money, the brand was in debt, like I've dealt with issues, all these things.
Yeah.
I learned retention from the brand side. Same with Eric. Like Eric didn't start his own brand, but Eric has been brand side for 13 years. So
Hmm.
there's something to be said about that as well. But there is no doubt in my mind that has significantly helped us.
Yeah. Right. So do you have like clients, founders, throwing tantrums? Does that even happen? Like, so, like, let's say they don't see immediate results in 3 months, and it happens with agencies a lot of times. I feel like people expect sudden results, and when it doesn't happen, they're like immediately pissed off. Like, does that happen?
The Not really. I wouldn't say tantrums, but there's always a period, there's always a ramp up period in the beginning with any given brand. And I think one thing that we do a really good job of before they even sign the contract is telling them that there's going to be a ramp up. I straight up tell them, I'm like, listen, we have world class designers. They work on world class brands. I can almost guarantee you the first round of creative that you get, you're not going to like. It just is what it is. But leave a lot of feedback, tell us what we're doing. And I follow up, we follow up with the brands after like a week, 2 weeks, etc. a lot in the beginning. And we just
Hmm.
tell them, how you feeling? What are you thinking? And they'll just straight up tell us, oh, I think we should focus a little bit more on this, or this is great, or I love this person, or the designs are this. So we are big proponents of radical transparency from
Hmm.
before the sales process, during the sales process, after the sales process, on the onboarding process. So it's pretty rare that a client is like, what the hell are you guys doing? I thought we were going to have this, that, and the other by now. We're very, very particular with, this is what we did, this is what happened, this is what we're doing. Is there anything you
Hmm.
want to see differently? How are you feeling about everything? Okay, cool. I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah. Okay. How big is your team, Ferris?
27.
27, and they're all in house.
It's a like there's contractors and stuff too, but yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought that that would be the case. So I wanted to ask you, like, how do you decide that, okay, these are the roles that I definitely need in house, and these
Mhm.
are some things that I can outsource? How do you make those decisions?
Um, the roles that are the most impactful to the business, we treat differently than the roles that are less impactful.
Hmm.
So, a senior strategist who handles multiple accounts, who is client facing, who is the primary point of contact,
Hmm.
are treated differently than not I don't want to say treated differently. There's just different compensation packages, different employment packages than implementers or something of that nature. VAs who are
Yeah.
also very very important, but important in a different way. The impact of any given person leaving kind of determines how you set up their compensation package, right? Same thing at any business, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And what is your leadership style? Are you good at like letting it go and delegating, or are you always in that founder mode, going crazy and trying to micromanage everything?
Um, I'd like to think that I'm getting better and better at delegating, but I still am arguably too hands on with a lot of the business. But
Yeah.
I've also let go of a lot of stuff over the last 6 to 8 months. So I don't know. It's a work in progress.
And how about like your so like do you have wife and kids? Are you single? What is your
I
personal
live with
state?
my girlfriend. No kids at the moment, but something I'm definitely looking forward to.
Okay. So are you able to let's say make that quality time with your girlfriend? Are you able to stop thinking about work, compartmentalizing, making time slots? How do you manage your time?
That's another thing that's a work in progress. I've gotten a lot better. It's very it's very easy to because I love what I do. I love the team, I love the clients, I
Yeah.
love the game, I love the business, and it's mine, right? It's Eric and I started this thing. It's our baby. So
Yeah.
I could be better at it. I'm trying to draw hard lines, being more present, not being on my phone as much, not allowing difficult challenges at work to seep into how I interact with the people that I love outside of work. It's very easy to
Mm.
be in a bad mood when you have a rough day. It's
Yeah.
it's hard to turn it off, and that's something I'm working on. I've gotten a lot better at it, but
Mm.
I'm not very good at it.
Yeah. Okay. So, so you're saying like, okay, so this agency, I understand completely like that it's your baby, right? But then how did the idea first conceive that, okay, like I think I have scaled a brand now. Let me start helping other brands. How did that transition happen?
Well, I learned retention because of Mansion. So I had those skills. And then frankly, Mansion went through some very rough years. Still going through a rough time at the moment. I'm not going to sit here and say everything is fully golden. We went through some difficult times, still in difficult times. A lot of brands are in difficult times. Uh, and agencies make more money. The agency model is significantly a better business model for most people than a brand. You don't have advertising, fulfillment,
Hmm.
inventory, a bunch of cash tied up in inventory. Of course, you have people, right, which are notoriously difficult to scale and to work with, and but in general, at least when you start up, you
Yeah.
really just need a skill. You need a skill, and you need to know how to sell.
Yeah.
And You could have a one person, two person, three-person agency, just like we did in the beginning, get
Yeah.
some clients, and then that snowballs. That's significantly more easy to cash flow and generate wealth and have a good living than starting a brand most of the time. You do have your anomalies, but
Yeah.
those are pretty
Right. It is a high margin business, right? Because it's you giving your service and also you decide the price of your service. And so,
yes.
did you initially like just started working with brands at whatever price that they agreed on, or were you like always no? You just you're like okay, just let get some work and then we'll build on it. That's how you went
Exactly.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Our first, dude, I did freelancing on Upwork and I was charging like
Hmm.
$300 a month. And then we got
Yeah.
a client and our first client paid us like 2 grand or something.
Hmm.
And then it went to 5 grand. And then we went to 10 grand. And then we went to 15 grand. And now we have clients paying us 35 grand. So you have to start somewhere for the most part, get
Hmm.
some case studies, post about it, make some connections, get a little momentum, get a little cash flow, and then you can ladder up from there. But you don't want to be in a race toward the bottom. You want to figure out how to drive enough value to charge more money, and clients that pay more money are significantly less annoying than clients that pay less money.
Yes. Yeah, that is so true. Uh, tell me something. So I think so. So you're saying that like so Upwork kind of became your primary acquisition channel in the beginning, right? And then so you made connections through that, and then
No, not
you
really. I had one client off of Upwork. Like I
okay.
just that was yeah, it was not. Our primary acquisition channels was social media. So I had the
Hmm,
brand background, so I already had some connections and such. So for
hmm,
us, it was more so getting out there and making partnerships, meeting new people. We never really went like we tried cold emailing and it was terrible. We tried all
hmm.
these different like the Upwork never worked. So for us, I'm good at selling. Eric's good at selling. We're good at what we do. So it was just getting in front of people any way that we could. Shows, socials, etc.
Okay. So when you say socials, like you started posting and people like you try to pull people, or like did you like go and make connections, connecting with people? Like what was
Both.
the strategy there? Yeah, both.
I had
Okay.
when we first started, I had a Twitter, but
Hmm.
at the time it was Twitter, but I had 0 followers and I was following 0 people. So I've had it since a long time ago, but I had nothing. And so it was just starting there, getting
Yeah.
followers, following people, creating connections, all these different things. And it's eventually it snowballs as long as you do good work.
Yeah. Yeah. And cut to now, when you have some big clients, now do you have some acquisition channels that you like you try to do, or is it still the same way that you capture
Still the
new
same
clients?
way. It's all inbound. So we don't spend any money on marketing. At some point, we will have to. But at the moment, we don't spend any money on marketing. It's all inbound leads. So it's all connections, agency partners, tech partners, friends, social media, all that stuff.
Okay, I saw that like one of your clients was or is, I don't know, True Classic. I
Yeah, we worked with them for almost a year. They were our first big client. They're great. I was just talking to the founder Ryan last week.
Yeah, I mean it specifically caught my attention because I love the brand, and so I was like, okay, that's interesting. So they also came through connections on social.
That came through a connection from Jimmy Kim, actually, who's a good friend of ours. We owe him a lot. That was our first big brand, and he put our name in the hat, and we won the audit. We did great work. We posted about it, and we got a bunch of other clients.
Right, right. So yeah, I don't say. So you came to us through Jimmy Kim as well.
No
So
worries.
do you also uh, do collaborations on LinkedIn? Right.
Yeah, yeah, we've done. We haven't done many, but we
Hmm.
need to do more. Where it's like joint case studies type stuff is our favorite thing to do. Where hey, we worked with whatever this software company to generate crazy results for this brand.
Yeah. So, Faiz, I wanted to ask you that, like, so for a lot of agencies, the quality of work, from what I have seen around, is like it is great till it is a smaller team, and then it gets more and more difficult to maintain the same level of quality as you scale. So, are there some SOPs that you follow, or is there some, uh, I don't know, leadership mechanism that you have where you make sure that the quality is maintained even if, like, you have scaled the way that you have scaled?
Yeah, we're still not that big. So it's relatively easy for Eric and I and the other people in the agency that we deeply trust to be
Hmm.
hands on with the work. We did
Yeah.
just hire a ops consultant like a week ago who is doing exactly what you just said, helping us maintain consistency and scalability
Hmm.
in getting ready for next year. And
Hmm.
that's going to be the challenge. We're definitely afraid of losing quality. So how do we set the business up in a way to where we don't? So far, that hasn't been an issue. Hopefully, it isn't one that we deal with next year.
Right. And with founders, sometimes it happens that you think you are going to mentor and lead your team, but then you end up learning from your team a lot. Are there a few things that you have learned working with the people that you work with?
All the time, I learn from the team every day. I mean, things are rapidly changing. You know,
Hmm.
there's different business challenges, there's different tools, there's different approaches, there's different laws. Everything is changing every single month. So I
Yeah.
learn from them a lot. I mean, they're the ones in the accounts doing the work. So they keep me in tune with all of this stuff. Hey, this is what's working. This is what's not working. These are the laws we're issued. This brand is doing great because of this. This brand is doing poorly because of that. So they are literally my pulse into the actual tactical strategies that work and don't work.
Okay. And there have been like a great inflow of these marketing tools that have really, after the onset of AI, like, there are the market is just flooded right now, and like I get so many cold emails I can't even. Uh, have you found a tool which has really like impressed you? Is it like actually
I mean,
working
there's a
really well?
lot of tools. We have a lot of partners that we use. Um, the one that we love a lot lately is, well, for a while now, is the Hero Dash, Hiro. They're an analytics platform that's really, they're not AI, but they're an analytics platform that's helped us out. Zamo is a tool that's recently been super exciting for us. We're testing them out on a few different brands. So there's a lot of tools out there that we use and partner with.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Ferris, before I let you go, we'll just do this last segment of our podcast, which is called a rapid fire. Okay.
Okay.
So, I will ask you five quick questions. You give me five rapid answers. Right.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Let me just take them out. All right. So, first question: one underrated D2C brand everyone should study.
Ultra pouches.
Ultra pouches. What do they do?
Nootropic pouches. No caffeine, no nicotine.
Oh, okay, okay. And why should we study them? I'm sorry, it was supposed to be rapid, but I'm just interested.
I know they're growing very quickly. We just onboarded them
Hmm.
like last week, I think, and yeah,
Okay.
they're seeing some great growth. And I haven't seen that
Okay.
market segment yet.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. Okay. Your favorite productivity tool right now?
Ignoring Slack.
Okay. All right. Uh, a weird marketing idea that actually worked for you.
A weird marketing idea that worked for me. That's a tough one. I don't know that I have a weird one.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't have a weird one. I think everything we do is great. I don't know. I mean, physical mailers is one that people think is weird. I don't think it's weird, but they think it's weird for, you know, D2C brands to be sending physical mail. They think of physical mail as like an old school tactic, but when done properly, it works to win customers back.
D2C brands still do physical mails? I had no
Oh yeah.
idea.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
We do
So
it all
to
the time.
for the current clients, or
Yeah,
like
yeah. We have
just
multiple current clients, huge clients that do physical mail.
no, as in they send mails to their current clients, or like just to capture new clients.
To There's a lot of different ways that you could do it, multiple ways, but to reactivate customers who are not engaged with the brand anymore.
Okay, physical mails. All right, interesting.
Mhm.
I guess we should also try that. Will be B2B. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, one founder that you'd love to grab coffee with.
Uh, Mike Beckham from Simple Modern.
Okay, interesting. Okay, and last question. One advice to all the budding founders and entrepreneurs out there.
Just do more of what works. I know that sounds crazy, but in the beginning, just do a lot of stuff and look at what works and do more of that.
Okay, all right then. Thank you so much, Ferris. I had a great 1 hour. I mean, it was very enlightening, but at the same time, it was very fun to talk to you, man. Thank you so much for being here. And
Likewise, appreciate the time.
yeah, hopefully, we meet soon. Whenever you plan to come to Dublin or India, let me know.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ferris. Thank you.